positive vibes, collect moments, not things. After having skipped town for a few days, I can say that this can sum up my entire experience. As opposed to taking a ton of videos, taking a ton of pictures, that would be the tangible thing to collect. Or as opposed to going shopping and just buying up a ton of souvenirs and stuff like that, I decided that I would really, 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 really be present 100%. Everything from the drive, my time spent at other people's homes. We had two places that we stopped at. One night we spent at my boyfriend's sister's house, and then we departed to make it to the Airbnb, and then we went to his aunt's house, and then we visited another home before we departed, his cousin's home. I didn't even have my phone on me, and it was cool that I can still live up to what I say about how I'm not married to my phone, how I'm not that person who starts to like shuffle, where's my phone? Before the trip, I thought, since I'm not a blood relative, I thought about becoming the camera person. I wanted to take pictures because I know that's something that means a lot to them. It would mean a lot to me as well if someone was taking pictures of me with my family. But I also thought it's just, I don't want to experience this through my camera and lens. I want to watch it, see it, observe it, capture it, absorb it the way I'm used to, the way that I grew up doing. I'm glad I did, but I'm also kind of sad that my boyfriend was like, I wish we would have taken more pictures, especially with our cousin. But I thought about it, but I just didn't want to like interrupt or miss out on anything. And I had that impulse too. I thought, I know they're gonna be really appreciative if I start taking pictures and stuff. But like I said, it's one of those things that I know people are okay with pictures nowadays. I remember a time when people would be a little bit, I guess, defensive about pictures. Some people just legit do not like to have the pictures taken of them. But I feel like in this family's experience, they have more often than not wished they would have taken more pictures more than skipping out on it. But I also think that it's important for you to train your mind to have memories of your own, as opposed to creating a memory out of posing with a camera or posing for a camera. And you know what I mean? It just diminishes your sense of presence. I think that the more you watch with your own eyes, as opposed to just multitasking with taking photos, the higher quality experience you have. And because these were people I hadn't met before, it was more important for me to also project that I'm present and that I'm not distracted by my device. And even when everybody else at some point was on their devices, I never pulled mine out except maybe once every 2 hours so that I could do a round of promos for my shop, which I closed it, but I still did promos so that there's activity. And I was so happy about that. I'm glad that I didn't miss out on the road trip. I got to see both sides of the road to and from. I also feel like I absorbed a majority of the conversations I witnessed. And that's what it's all about. It should be more about you being there and collecting more moments. And I feel like that entire trip was a giant moment that I can also highlight the smaller moments, especially the good laughs I had. I value that much more than, oh, I spent this time focusing on my camera, and therefore I didn't get the entire scoop. Nothing like that. In addition, when it comes to my home life in general, or even my work life, I don't try to bring home a lot anyway. Usually a practical shopper. I am such a practical shopper that I never stop at a store for just one thing. I call that a stupid reason, a stupid stop. I need to be able to bring home 3 things or more to justify my trip. But the more time I can spend at home, the better it is for me. And I also like the idea of when my boyfriend gets here, I'm at home to receive him. Because with my mom, very often she would get here, and by the time she would get here, I was already at the gym, and she came home to Dusty, but human activity wise, the home was empty. And if it were me, I would kind of feel down about that. But my sensitivities are mine. It doesn't have to be everybody else's. But yeah, you guys, I think this is true. The older I get, the more I focus on moments. And given that my boyfriend's aunt, of course, is up there in age, I said to myself, I'm glad that I'm getting to observe this lady, and in the future, when she is absent from our lives, I'm going to be able to reminisce with them just based off one visit. It's like, hey, did you guys remember that time when this and that happened? I'm able to have that recollection because I paid attention. I was present there as opposed to focusing on the things I can get out of it. My boyfriend decided he wanted a souvenir, so he settled for a magnet. That's also a bottle opener. And they had various choices. Many of them look kind of similar in color. One had a sunset design, but dolphins and all other kinds of animals. And then I just so happened to browse a little deeper and I saw the turtle one. And I guess he has started to love turtles on a similar level to me after our little turtle trip that we took years ago. And when he saw this, he was like, oh, that's it. We buying it. And during this visit, there was a lot that I learned from observing, and some things that I guess I could say reinforced beliefs that I already had that I have talked about here when it comes to social dynamics. It was interesting. It's one that, if you allow it, it can be a huge lesson, and I'm certainly aware that that's what I did with this experience. Well, there you guys have it. That's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you feel like you have materialistic tendencies, or are you someone who's able to just live like the internet doesn't exist? Or like your phone doesn't exist? Because I feel like some people try to pass time by being on their phone, and I think on a plane is the only time I may catch myself doing that. But even when I flew lost and I had my smartphone by then, it was a very short flight, and B, I have never really needed entertainment like that. I'm perfectly comfortable in my own presence, doing nothing and just absorbing the rare times. To me, flying is a very rare occurrence. So every time I go flying, I make it count. I make sure I look out the window and that I absorb my surroundings and just be present. Okay, that's it. Bye.